these suits. It's like, hey, you want to do Batman and Robin on the telethon? Be on TV as Batman and Robin? That'd be awesome. So we show up and we had the little, see at the bottom, the little red phone there? We had the, it was like a little play phone that I got, but I took another coffee can lid, but a smaller one, and put a Christmas light in it with a switch. So it looked like, so when you hit the switch, it would actually light up red. So in the middle of talking to Warren there on TV, on live TV, I'm like, oh, excuse me, Warren, the commissioner is calling. And I took a call. I think I do have video of this somewhere. I said, yes, Commissioner, we're on our way. I'm sorry, Warren, but we have to hit the Batmobile and go, yeah, so we dashed off, and it was really fun. So, and now people were kind of now starting to kind of embrace this. They're like, hey, that's kind of novel, you know, these guys show up in these costumes. That's pretty cool. So we started to do more and more stuff. There was a little article in the high school newspaper about doing, basically, I call it theater of life, where it's a theater, you're acting, you're performing, but it's just one-on-one in everyday life. And you don't need a stage or a movie set or anything. We're doing characters. We're completely in character here. We always use our voices. I remember when we went to a hospital, we just dropped into a hospital and said, well, can we say hi to the kids? And even back then, there was like security issues. They didn't really know who we were.
How could they not know who you were? You're Batman.
Yeah. They said, well, yeah, it all has to be, you know, pre-approved and everything, but here's the number of the person. And I said, Robin, when the intentions of Batman and Robin are questioned, it's a very sad day. And we just walked on.
Did you show up on site dressed like this, or would you just leave the house, hop on the bus, and go in costume?
I had an old station wagon. We'd just get the station wagon, and we'd just like, hey, you want to go to the Batman and Robin at the Empire Mall today? You're like, sure. So we put the costume on, we just show up, and people loved it.
You ever get pulled over in costume?
No, I never drove with the actual mask on because it was unsafe. Yeah. And then, as you see the next one, it's a flyer for something called the Teddy Bear Picnic. As you can see there highlighted, Batman is appearing at such and such a time. So, just anything to get my cosplay craziness expressed. It was like, oh, I'm sorry. See. Must be a girl, baby. Yeah, I made her cry again. Something I do. So anyway, so you go to the next thing. And then, this was a really fun day. Apparently, this is an official Spider-Man costume sent by Marvel. We heard that Spider-Man was going to be appearing at a local store. Then I said to my friend Tom Simmons, hey, put my Superman suit on, let's go get a picture with Spider-Man. We didn't know Marvel versus DC. We didn't care about any of that stuff. We said, hey, it'd be a great photo op. So we show up. And they see us coming, and Spider-Man kind of looks at us like, oh, what's this? and the manager comes up and goes, oh, what are you guys doing here? And I'm completely in character. We'd like to get our picture with a fellow crime fighter, Spider-Man. You guys are, all right, get your picture, get out of here. So we get our picture, and off we go. And we're like, wow, that was weird, but that was kind of funny. It's going to be a good story to tell at Comic-Con someday. So, that leads me to my next cosplay suit that I created was a Superman, which I love the Christopher Reeve movie, who didn't, and I'm looking at posters and books and things to try to figure out how it was made. So I did that, and then of course I would do telethons as Superman. I'd go out. It was a lot easier to get around in that than it was the Batman suit because you had less clothes to wear. But as you can see, Superman loves the ladies. And meeting kids in the mall there, and just basically doing anything I could do to do any sort of charity work or anything. There's my daughter Lacey when she was dressed up for Halloween as a little pink bunny. So, and occasionally somebody would say at the radio station, hey, my kid has a birthday party. Would you like to, come over? So anyway, we got a scoop. So next is Darth Vader. I strapped a tape recorder to my chest. I got the Don Post helmet, and off we went. And then would be kids. Say again, 15? Okay, wow, got a long way to go. Okay, there's Darth Vader. There's another shot of Darth Vader. Once I got the engineers at the radio station helped me rig a wood box with some Christmas lights in it so it would actually blink. So it was a little more deluxe. And then there's Darth Vader again. That's Missy Cleveland, Playboy Playmate, again at World of Wheels. And some kids at the Santa House. So again, a lot of charity work. This is getting to be around 1982, 1983 when Return of the Jedi came out. I made the Darth Vader breastplate out of a piece of cardboard and covered it with vinyl. Then I get into the whole Muppet section. I wanted to be a Muppeteer, so I started building Muppets and made my own Kermit the Frog, and I'd go out into hospitals and see kids and do different things. I turned basically my bedroom into a workshop.
Did you make that Fozzie also?
The what?
The Fozzie?
Yeah, again, out of just pictures, out of calendars and stuff that I had. So, yeah, go ahead to the next thing. Next. Yeah, so then I started, when I would show up and do appearances at malls and whatever I could do, because I wanted to be.
Jeff Lynne video love?
Yeah. Because I wanted to do, see, I'm at a movie theater there, they're playing the Great Muppet Caper, I just showed up, and I wanted to be a Muppeteer, and there was like, hi, I'm Kermit the Frog here. Hi, how are you today? My voice was shut. But then we did the United Cerebral Palsy Telethon again, and I sent all this material. We made actually a high school TV project for an educational channel called Summer Safety Tips for Kids with all my Muppet characters. I was going to use that as a demo tape and move ahead, and then realized that once I sent, see all those, I made all those with my mom, and I sent them all to, there's Rolf from the hospital, and Oscar in the trash can, and there's our Summer Safety Tips for Kids shoot. I was getting some decent costumes and puppet collection. So I sent this tape to the Muppets in New York, hoping that they were going to say, hey, come work for us, come work for us. And then they send me this. Cease and desist. Thus ended my Muppet career.
How dare you?
So going to the next one. So I started doing Leatherface for like local haunted houses and different things, and then made my own Michael Myers mask before the rubber ones came out. It was the 80s, so I dressed up as Billy George. So I would do that. That really got me beat up. Go ahead. Did Weird Al. There's a picture of me with Al at Valley Fair in Minneapolis. I've been friends with Al since then. Al sent me a letter with saying that the photos that I'd sent of me as him, he showed them to his manager, and the manager's like, so? And he's like, well, that's not me, that's this guy named Wally. He's like, what? And you can see Al is looking at a picture of me as Al, making that strange. So then we decided to start our own Rocky Horror Shadow Cast, and since I had the hair, I was recruited to doing Frankenfurter, which really got me beat up. Shadow Cast, and then right around that time, it was time for me to move to Los Angeles, and there's a big article in the newspaper. Wow. And keep going, we only have 10 minutes. So I get to 1988, and I put on my Batman costume with Chris Malmead, and we're at an event at the Stock Exchange in Los Angeles where Adam and Bert are there, and that was like the pinnacle of our lives at that point. That was really cool. And of course, meeting the great Bob Kane off to the right there. We took those pictures at
cosplay Nirvana right there.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. And then we did a muscular dystrophy thing over Labor Day, where we visit kids in hospitals, and then went to the zoo, and then signed autographs and raised money for MDA. So it's really great to take your cosplay and just be able to do good stuff with it, and not obviously when you're not being sued. There I'm getting my face cast for my new cowl. They're making the new cowl, and then that's Jan Kemp, who created all the costumes for the Batman TV series. He was a friend of mine, and that's his wife Marge right there. And Jan was a dear friend, and he told me all the secrets of how the costumes are made. It was a dream come true. Yes?
There's a noticeable difference in the utility belt between those two suits.
There is.
Where did you get some more reference?
Like a wrestling belt at first, and now, because with Jan's help, he said, oh no, it's only about 3 inches. I was like, oh really, okay. And then I got the metal buckle because guys were starting to make them now. And then I started getting into other stuff, like I did a Freddy Krueger thing, and that got me the job on a TV commercial for phone programs, an 800 Freddy number with actual phone latex makeup that they put on me. Then my Andy Kaufman stuff came back when Man on the Moon came out. The E! True Hollywood Story cast me as Andy Kaufman for the recreation scenes. So I got to be Andy in that, and they made me also as Tony Clifton. They made prosthetics for my face. So that was me as Tony. And Tony's going to figure into it later. There's me at the Man on the Moon premiere. I'm just wandering around dressed as Andy. That's Lynn Margulies, who was Andy's girlfriend up to the day he passed away. She said that Andy still had those pictures that I sent him when I was a kid in his stuff when he passed away. And she
wow.
said, would you like them back? And I said, no, don't disturb their cosmic place, keep them in Andy's stuff. So there, now that I have the Tony Clifton prosthetics, I went to Vegas, and there's Comic-Con back in about 2001, and it was fun doing Tony Clifton, but I was asked to cease doing Tony Clifton by the real Tony Clifton because he thought it was too confusing, and I said, yeah, that's fine, I'll stop. So it's not my character, I didn't really care. So then I finally got my deluxe Star Trek outfit made with the real fabrics, with the right colors, and the pants, with the sparkly and the boots, and I was like, yeah.
Your hair was per Starfleet regulations.
Yeah, well, I'm from the planet Metallica, where you are. you move up in command based on your hair length. And I finally got to go into the Guardian at one of the Star Trek experiences, and my friend Scott created this picture. After I went back in time, there's little Captain Kirk along with big Captain Kirk, and the entire cast of Star Trek save DeForest Kelly. That's a great shot. So I'm doing Austin Powers in 1997 at the West Hollywood Halloween Carnival, and I meet Dina Appel, who's the girl in the middle there. She's the costume designer for Austin Powers. Now, Austin Powers wasn't a big deal when it first came out. It was what's called a sleeper. So she says, oh, I designed the costume. I'm like, what? Yeah, here's my card. I'm like, I gotta find out the fabrics you use. Now, I really want to make one of these. So then I made a real Austin Powers suit, and then started actually doing parties. And I somehow ended up at Marilyn Manson's house with Rose McGowan for his 30th birthday party, which was pretty cool. Yeah, baby, very shagadelic, very groovy. And then I got a better Batman costume, like a really deluxe one, made off the original patterns. The guy dressed as Robin there is Richard Horvitz from Invader Zim. And of course I would go to conventions, and Adam was there, Jim Lee down in the corner there. Adam would say something to people when they came up to his table that was hilarious. It was his dry sense of humor. You could be in a Halloween costume, you could be in a ratty Batman costume, you could be in a deluxe Batman costume, and he'd say the same thing. He'd look you over and go, that's just like the one I used to wear. No matter what you were wearing. So when I saw him right around that time, I was in the elevator, he came into the elevator at a convention, and he goes, Wally? And he looks me over and goes, that looks better than the one I used to wear. I was like, how did you make that? I'm like, oh, the guys are getting really clever right now. So then we go on. My last Batman appearance was in Austin, Texas in 2004 with Frank Gorshin, Burt Ward, and Adam West in our team of supervillains, and that was when I pretty much hung up the collar.
Didn't your mom come to Adam West's rescue one time for his costume? Didn't your mom come to Adam West's rescue one time?
Oh yeah, Adam was doing an appearance in Sioux Falls in about 1988, but his cape had gotten wrinkly in the flight to Sioux Falls. So Sioux Falls, they didn't have any like laundering or dry cleaning or anything on site. So it's 7:30 in the morning, and his appearance starts at 10. And he's like, oh, my cape is very wrinkly, and I don't have I'm like, I think I know who to call. So I call my mom. Mom, you gotta wake up, get your iron and come down get your iron and come down to the Holiday Inn. So she came down and ironed Adam's cape while we had breakfast. She came down and joined us for breakfast. She still is talking about it. So then other Comic-Con stuff I did later was, go ahead, please. Man in the Beaver Hat, because I was a Lon Chaney fan. That was actually on the floor at Comic-Con about 2002. That was my deluxe Barnabas Collins with an official ring, an official Wolf's Head cane, and makeup and the whole bit. I had the Inverness coat made. I was getting deluxe. So basically, I'm still doing the same crap I was doing as a kid, but now I have the money to really get the deluxe stuff done. There's the cane, everything. That's Catherine Lee Scott from Dark Shadows. The next shot is David Selby, who was Quentin, and that was 2012 when the feature film, the Tim Burton feature film came out, and that was the last time I really had ever cosplayed. But what I like to do now is, that's 2006, I'm the Scarecrow of Romney Marsh. I'm in the middle there. I was told that as a voice actor, you're starting to get kind of well-known now. It's probably not a good idea to cosplay anymore because people kind of don't know. I'm like, really? They're like, yeah, okay. So I said, well, I'm just going to completely cover everything and nobody will know who it is anyway. And I can still have fun in cosplay and nobody knows who's under there. So, and then there was a convention with Paul Michael Glazer, David Soul, and Antonio Fargas. So I flew my buddy Steve Hatt in from South Dakota. I said, dude, you've got an Ava Gran Torino that they were driving, and we were sitting in the back like a couple of fangirls. And there I'm putting the sweater on Paul, and this was I wanted to be that guy when I was 15 for crying out loud. Now, here we are hanging out with buddies. So dreams come true, folks. You know, if something as silly as cosplay can help your dreams come true. That's you know what happens.
Can you quickly tell the story when you were riding in the car with your Torino with Paul and David?
I can't tell it with children present.
Oh, yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
What about when people pull up alongside the Torino?
I can't tell that with children. It would lose its impact if I do anything less than the R-rated version. So now what I do is I just cosplay with my hand. My forearm cosplays now because I have these Muppet replicas that I found, and I like to go take Kermit out. I don't care about any cease and desist anymore because I'm just, I don't care. Let him come at me. I need a match set, you know, so I can find this outside. But that was at the Skirball Center recently with the opening of the Jim Henson Imagination exhibit. Then, of course, I had Animal here over the weekend, so it's been fun. So that's what I do now. But keep cosplaying because it can turn into good stuff, and it can make you feel better. And if you do it right, and you do it with charitable organizations and make people happy, that's really what it's all about, even if it's you have to get beat up a few times. So, but now geek is chic, so people don't really get beat up so much anymore. I'm just glad I was always 6'1" and about 180 pounds, because people tend to kind of leave me alone, but they would verbally beat me up, you know. Any questions before?
Question, if anyone has a question. Over there!
Yes.
So, have you ever tried to make an almighty tallest costume, and if so, do you have any tips?
Well, first of all, lose about 300 pounds because I'd have to like get my waist all cinched up because they don't have a waist, so I'd have to get a really great corset. I have seen cosplay Almighty Tallest, which are really great. No, you know, I've never really thought about that. I've only once cosplayed myself, but I went one Halloween as my Dell guy. That was the only time I ever went out for Halloween as me, which was kind of fun. But no, what's that?
Did anyone get it?
A few, but the few that got it really got it.
Eddie Money got it.
Eddie Money got it, yeah. But it was, it was just pretty fun. So,
Oh, we're good.
okay,
Still
cool.
another minute or so.
Oh, good. Okay. Yes, sir.
You got to sit in the Batmobile. Do you ever get to drive it?
Yes, I got to drive not the Batmobile, but in Austin, Texas, I got to drive a replica Batmobile. I remember the thing about me getting into one of the original Batmobiles was I banged my knee when I got in because it's a lot smaller in there than you'd think. And I'm thinking, good Lord, how did Adam do this? Because he's as tall as I am, and he must have banged his knee all the time. So I was really careful getting in. Plus, you have to work the cape to get it in so it's not shut on the car door and hanging in the mud. But they did a news story to promote this convention with Adam, Frank, and Bert there. So they had a replica Batmobile with, of course, my Robin was there at the time. The villains were on another kind of thing, and they were all waving and saying hi for the live shot. And it was 7 in the morning in a mall parking lot in Austin, Texas. Nobody was there. So I was pulling donuts in the middle of the thing. I'm like, I'm going to make this worthwhile because it was great. But again, when you have that on, as you can tell, you have no peripheral vision. It's like, so you're like, really? Remember Michael Keaton in the '89 movie? In order to look up, he had to go. So, but yes, I have. Yes, sir.
If you were to do cosplay now, and you were a little kid at this present time, what characters do you like right now, like in movies and whatnot?
Oh boy, I really dig the new Ant-Man costume. I got to voice Ant-Man in Earth's Mightiest Heroes as the Hank Pym Ant-Man, but I was watching the new Ant-Man and watching him, like, that is a cool costume. I just would have to, be the size of Paul Rudd, but and I would need Pym particles to shrink. But yeah, that, and I was looking downstairs at one of the booths. It's an effects thing where they make the Ant-Man helmets, and my friend Mike works there, and he makes those, and I'm like, Mike, those Ant-Man helmets are really cool. So I may have to buy one of those. But again, you'll still be able to see that part of my face, I think, and I don't know if that's allowed. My agent would probably have my height if I did that. But anyway, so yeah.
The magazine that came out in the 90s, I think you helped Adam West with that. Did you make a new costume for him?
Yes. After I had met Jan Kemp and had done my Batman costume, Adam said, well, can you make one for me? Because we're doing this magazine. It was Adam West remembers 30 years of Batman in 1996, so we made him a brand new top to bottom suit. And I remember driving him around town, getting his gloves, hands measured for gloves. And as we got lost going on to East LA, that you don't want to do, go to the bootmaker. You don't want to get lost in East LA with Adam West. That's pretty crazy. But he went in and took his his boots that he had, his old show boots, and then had his foot traced, and they measured his ankle, and everything was, top to bottom. So it was pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, we need to wrap things up. Wally will be available in the hallway for anyone who has additional questions. Let's thank our tech guy, Boz Adams here.